Welcome back to Wit Acres. Today is a very exciting day because we get to open the greenhouse. This is February 27th in Zone 6A, and I finally get to open my greenhouse today. It's very exciting. This is my Harbor Freight greenhouse. It's about 6 feet wide, 8 feet deep, 6.5 feet tall. This is where I start all my seeds for the gardening season this year. I had this put in last year. Actually, March 1st we got it built and put in here. So I've got an earlier start this year, which is nice. I got these new racks in to give me plenty of space to lay down some 10-20 trays. Got my fans waiting. The only one I have in here right now are the calendula and the flowers we started. First flowers. The only thing up right now is the calendula, however you want to say it. Looks like there's some chives coming in. And the basil's taking some time. I got them out here because I don't actually have enough room in my house in the grow room. So I got them out here. It is right at 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 degrees Celsius, right about. So these don't mind germinating in a little colder weather. The snapdragons and the calendula, obviously. But my other ones with the peppers and everything else inside, they're not quite ready to go out in this temperature. As we move outside, you might notice all the snow is gone, which is rather nice, making it feel a little bit more like spring. Echo Pup here, always ready to help. Right, Pup? You got it. Once Echo gets that golf ball, we can get started planting some more. I got some peppers to sow today for my own garden, because the last set of peppers we sowed was for the plant sale. Bring! So I'll be starting my own peppers this time, and some basil for the plant sale. We'll be starting a bunch of 5 different kinds of basil, I think. So let's get in there and see. To save some time, I got my trays already filled, thumb packed, and moistened, ready to take seeds. I want to share with you, if you can tell, I'm using humidity domes as the solid 10 by 20 tray because I ordered these trays from Greenhouse Megastore, and only the 72 cell plug trays came. My set of 4 plug trays, I don't know what that equals out to be, but 4 cells instead of 6 like these are, haven't come, and all the solid bottoms haven't came. I emailed them and they said they're out of stock. They'll be coming in a couple weeks. Well, I don't have time for that. I got my seeds ready to go here, all laid out and organized in the order I'm going to be starting them. So, got to make do with what you have and get planting. The first tray we'll be planting is some more lettuce leaf basil like last time. I'm doing a dozen lettuce leaf basil. We'll be doing a dozen spicy globe basil, a dozen blue spice basil, cinnamon basil, and dark opal basil. Be doing a dozen of each like that, and then I'll be doing 6 sage broadleaf and 6 dill mammoth. That's how my tray will be set up. Let's get inside. Okay, we're down here on the floor so I don't make a mess. First set is the lettuce leaf basil. which I'm gonna plant these about 1/4 inch deep, it says. And I got my trusty number 2 pencil. Make a little hole in each cell, about 1/4 inch down. And I'm gonna be planting probably 2, maybe 3 per cell. I want to make sure I have good germination. Now this soil is Happy Frog again, which is what I like to use to start all my seeds. It's got a little bit of bat guano and a little bit of peat moss. There's some things you really need for seed starting. A little bit of fertilizer in there just for getting them going. So try to get 2 in each cell here. Now these are black seeds, so they're a little hard to see if I'm getting them in the hole. Never grown basil from seed before, so this is all a first for me. Just following the instructions on the package. It'll be nice to have some fresh basil with all my meals this year. I've got a lot of them. I'm just going to pack them in, cover over the soil. This soil has plenty of moisture in it. I don't need to water these afterwards. And pack them in. Make sure the seed has good soil to seed to soil contact. And always make sure to put your marker in there. I don't put my marker until the very end, but that's just me. Ooh, a loose seed. Just shove that in somewhere. Next up will be the spicy glowed basil, which actually these are all going to get planted the same way. So I'll bring you back once all the basil's in. Now that all the basil is in, next up will be broadleaf sage. I'm going to be putting in 6 of these. These are a little bit bigger than the basil. I'll be doing 2 per cell. And it says another 1/4 inch deep. Now I'm growing these mainly for the plant cell because I can sow these a lot closer to my frost date for whenever I plant them. But for the plant cell, I want to get them to a good healthy size that someone actually want to buy them. So I'm starting them early. This is my 3rd year gardening, so a lot of this stuff I haven't grown before. My 1st year I grew all the basic vegetables that you'd think to grow. Tomatoes, cucumbers, zucchini, and zucchini, squash. And then my 2nd year I grew a lot more flowers, a lot of color around the landscape. That's it. I'm only doing 6 of these. Stop there. And this year I'm going to be growing a lot of both. I want to grow as much variety as possible to learn as much as I can about each plant. And then I can decide what's going to be a staple in the garden, what I'm going to be planting every year. Now for this dill, that's a 1/4 inch deep too. And I probably could be starting this a little later. But like I said, I want to get a healthy plant for the plant cell, which is going to probably be end of April 30th or 1st week of May. I'll be putting 2 of these in each cell. These are little flat, papery ones. They should have good germination, but I just can't bring myself to put 1 seed in 1 cell and hope for the best. I gotta have chances. I like having options. So I was saying, this year I'm growing as much variety as food as I can, and I'm growing a lot of flowers as well. In the fall, I put in a lot of perennials already, so that makes my spring seed sowing a little bit simpler. I got some growing without having to do anything in the spring. If you follow along, you'll see the whole garden. I think it's really coming together. It's not full yet, but the garden's really never done being made, so that is the first tray. So all that's left to do is put your plant markers in. Put it in a warm, about 50 degrees or better, especially for the basil. They like a little bit warmer weather. And in about 10 days, these should all be popping up. Alright, on to the next tray. This next tray is something everybody waits for. Tomatoes. Now these tomatoes are all for the plant sale because it's still a little early for me to be starting tomatoes here in Zone 6. But like I said, I want to get healthy, decent sized plants for the plant sale. So I'll be growing some tomatoes because everybody wants tomatoes. First up is Baxter's bush cherry. Sorry I can't put it right side up. I already opened it from the bottom. Now, this is a pack from last year, so hopefully I have enough seeds in here. Now with tomatoes, it's pretty much the same thing as the basil. Just gonna put a little 1/4 inch plug in here with my number 2 pencil. I'll be putting 12 of these Baxter bush cherry tomatoes in, which I tried last year and I didn't really care for them, so that's why they're going into the plant cell. My niece can eat these things straight, which I just don't see how. I'm really trying to find a tomato that I like. I don't like any of them, whether they're raw or sliced. So I am growing a lot of tomatoes this year, a lot of different tomatoes this year, to try and find one that I like. So stick around and we'll try and find a good tomato together. Sowing 2 per cell here because I like odds, and they're an older seed, so there is a chance of poor germination. And it looks like I will just have enough. One short. I think there's some more left in this. Oh yeah. Damn. They're stuck to the sides in there. Try and fish them out. Come on, give me tomatoes. Alright, I got 2. Drop those in the last cell and then cover them up. Put these a good 1/4 inch down. They have the energy to shoot up through the soil. This might be actually a little bit wet for soil seed starting mix, but see, I'm struggling with these humidity domes acting as the solid trays because they're flimsy and they flex and can't move them very easily. Okay, that is Baxter's Bush Cherry. It was a good producer last year. I just didn't care for the flavor too much. Okay, and for another smaller one, we'll be planting a yellow pear. I got some of these free seeds from Baker Creek with my order, one of my orders. So I'll be planting this 50-cent pack from last year for the plant sale, and hopefully they all come up. What sucks about these packages is you never can get them open. Look, ripping the crap out of it. When you buy them from Baker Creek or M.I. Gardner, some of the other places, you get a resealable package, which is very nice. I'll be sowing these again, 1/4 inch. Seems like that's a very common depth for a lot of seed sowing. And I'll be doing a dozen of these. Oh, I sifted this, but sometimes you still get big sticks in there. Fall straight through the grate. Okay, got that dipped out. I don't like doing the tapping method over the cell because I tend to always put more than I should in. I'm going to be putting 2 of these per cell. Now, these yellow pears I tried to grow last year. I had them in the pumpkin patch and they kind of got grown over by the pumpkin and then never really produced. So I don't know if I like these ones or not. That's why I'm going to grow them again. This seed sowing's for the plant sale, but I'll be sowing some for my garden here in the next week or 2. I'm really trying this year not to sow my seeds too early. Because last year I usually start everything from seed. So my greenhouse gets pretty full and I'm watering things, and it gets hard to water things that are in different size packages and they're drying out at different rates. So trying to just get them for when I need them, so they're not sitting in the pot too long and not in the greenhouse needing taken care of. I want to get them in the pots, started growing, and then put outside in the ground right when they're supposed to be. Yeah, I think everybody wants that, but I'm really trying this year. Okay, that's the 12 there. Now, what I'm going to do is 12 super beefsteak, because everybody likes a good large tomato. This one I'm actually going to sow on the end here. For a reason you'll see in a second, but so these ones on the end, they're a bigger tomato. A 1/4 inch plug. This number 2 pencil makes it easy. Boom, boom, boom. Now, this package again, it's from last year. Trying to use up these seeds, maybe make some money off of them. Never done the plant sale before. This will be the first year for that too. Hopefully that goes well. I'm just not trying to do too much for it. Just trying to keep my expectations low, I guess. These I'm doing 2 to 3 per cell. And dropped in there. Try and get these in there quicker because this can be a little boring, especially just to watch. I'm not bored. I'm been waiting for this. So okay, we got 2-3 per cell there. The rest back in the pouch. Don't forget to put your marker in. I don't do that, but put your markers in. Cover the soil. Cover the seed back up with soil. Like I said, this soil is plenty moist enough. I don't need to give it a spritzing at all for water. They're plenty wet, maybe even too wet. Okay, now I am going to be doing early girl hybrid tomato, which I don't know, people seem to like. It's one of my dad's favorites. Got a few seeds left in this pack. I'm doing 24 of these, 2 dozen. Because I want to have plenty of tomatoes for everybody to be buying. I would rather run out of, I don't know if other people think like this, but I would rather run out of plants than have extras for the plant sale. I always want extras for my garden, but what I'm growing for the plant sale, I'm not expecting to have in the garden. Two separate sowings for 2 different reasons. So let me get all these plugged out here. I don't know if I have enough seeds. Might have to just sow 1 per cell for this 2 dozen and hope for the best. Like I said, I'm not trying to put too much energy into the plant cell. I want to make sure my garden's where I want it this year. Now these white coated seeds, if you can see these, look exactly like perlite. So it makes it a little confusing to see if one's in the hole or not, because I got perlite everywhere. I am only sowing 1 per cell here because I don't have enough to sow 2. But this is a packet of new seeds this year, so hopefully they have a good germination rate. Get in that hole. Come on. Okay. So yeah, I'm just gonna put the rest of them in there. Cover these up. The early girl was a good tomato last year. I actually had one fruiting in a pot in the greenhouse before I got anything in the ground. It takes me till about mid-May till I'm safely able to put things in the ground. Depends on the plant. I can direct sow my root vegetables and some leafy greens in April, but I don't want to put any of these tomatoes, warm loving plants, out until at least mid-May to late May. Alright, that is the first sowing of tomatoes of the year. Now all these tomatoes are for the plant sale, so I'll be starting my own tomatoes later on, but that's exciting. So if you're still here, next up would be all the peppers for my own garden. The last set of peppers we started was for the plant sale, but now it's time for me to start the peppers for my own garden. This is one that wasn't on the last list, was the Ornamental Easter pepper, New Mex Easter. I'm not sure if that's actually edible or not. I grew it last year in a pot on the patio, turned out pretty good. Had some nice orange and purple colors to the different peppers that came off. I'll be sowing some peppers, and I'll be sowing some basil for my own garden this week. So if you're following along for Zone 6A, this would be the time to start your peppers and some more herbs. Before I let you go, I wanted to give you an update in the grow room here, the closet. The onions are doing fine. The brassicas I moved back into the closet because they weren't getting enough light in the south facing window upstairs. They're getting kind of lanky maybe. I don't know if you can see with this lighting, but the gherkins popped up, the jelly melon popped up, and the potato cucumber popped up just fine. Waiting on the parsley. No peppers yet. And the herbs are looking small. Never grown herbs before, so anything I get out of that herb tray is going to be bonus. Bunching onions are doing good. And under that black tray there, in there, that's the sweet potatoes. Keep them warm and dark until I see some sprouts. I'm checking them daily. That's all for now. I'm going to get those peppers planted up and some of the basil from my own garden. Hopefully next time we'll be sowing in the greenhouse. That'll be nice. But until then, subscribe down below. Follow me along in this garden. We'll see you on the next one.